NinjaTrader. We're doing an introduction to NinjaTrader 8 with Dave and Matthew from NinjaTrader, so welcome to them. This webinar will be recorded and will be available on the futures.io website tomorrow. We will do a Q&A at the end, so please hold your questions until then. If you are watching this webinar at a later date on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Standard disclaimer, there is risk in trading. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dave now.
All right, can everybody hear me? Okay, it sounds like I'm coming in loud and clear. I want to start by thanking everybody for inviting us over today. It's always a pleasure to come and chat with you guys at Futures.io. I know our CEO Ray has popped in a couple times. Today you've got myself, I'm Dave Ingram, and Matthew from the product management team here to talk to you about something we're all really excited about, which is our newest offering in the product lineup, NinjaTrader 8. All right, so a couple quick things. What we're going to talk about today, there's so many things to talk about in NinjaTrader 8, but what I really want to do is show you some hands-on demonstrations of some of the things that are kind of some of the bigger wow factors that our users are giving us feedback about. One of them is a whole range of new charting enhancements. So things on the chart, such as the new tabbed architecture of chart windows and all windows really, and some really cool enhancements there, and also the Superdome. We know a lot of our users are dome traders, so we're going to get our hands on with the new NinjaTrader 8 Superdome and show you some of the bells and whistles that are going on there. Okay, so before we really start, I just want to note NinjaTrader 8 is currently in the public beta phase. So what that means is we're technically still in development. However, we've gone through our initial development phase, we've gone through our internal testing phase, we've gone through a closed beta phase where we kind of invited a couple hundred power users to get in and bang on the platform. And now we're in an open beta where anybody in this event today can get your hands on NinjaTrader 8 beta and start playing around with it, doing your sim trading, connecting to your live accounts even as soon as today. It's been an open beta for several months, and we're really happy with the progress so far. We've got a very active and really smart beta community who have done everything from developing new add-ons and pushing the functionality of the new Ninja script to push the envelope, to identifying some issues that we've been able to fix and iron out and greatly enhance the product while we're still in beta. That's been really exciting as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here. Terry, did you need something? Were you saying something?
No, I was just going to let you know you could start your share screen anytime.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm going to set that up right now. Looks like it's just loading up here. I'm just having a little bit of trouble with this screen share here. Bear with me just a moment. Let's see here. Sorry about that, guys. I think I see what the issue is, and it should only take me just a moment here to get this running. Okay, I think we've got it going now. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead. Sorry about that, guys. It's my first time using this particular webinar software. So I'm going to go ahead and get NinjaTrader 8 launched here. And while it launches up, I'm going to go ahead and just connect it to my CQG data feed. This will be the same feed that's offered to our brokerage clients and any demo users that want to sign up for a futures feed. Get that set up. Let's get a chart going. We'll touch on some basic introductory things about the platform, and then we will get our hands on with some of these new features I'd like to show you. Okay, so a couple quick preliminary points that we're really excited about. One, right out of the gate, NinjaTrader 8 includes over 500 major enhancements. That's just major enhancements, not to mention the countless tweaks and refinements and performance improvements that we've made all throughout the platform. One thing people want to know about right away is the question, can NinjaTrader 8 utilize multiple CPU cores? So the answer is absolutely yes. So those of you familiar with software architecture, we're using what's called a multi-threaded architecture. What that means is NinjaTrader 8 is able to use more than one of your CPU cores, which was not the case in the past when NinjaTrader 7 was designed. I don't want to say this was the major driver of going to the 8 version, but it was definitely a large. Really, when I'm asked the question, why go 8? Why not, 7.1 or 7.2? The answer is really because we wanted to bring the platform into the modern era of utilizing processors efficiently, of utilizing new technologies for things like chart rendering and things like that, and just up to par to be as competitive as it's always been in each kind of era in which NinjaTrader has existed. So as you can see, we have a brand new user interface. It's designed to feel familiar for those of you who may be familiar with NinjaTrader 7, and yet there are what I like to call convenience features and kind of aha moments all throughout the platform, where something that maybe took 5 clicks in NinjaTrader 7 now takes 1, things like that. So the UI was actually designed by a UI designer. So form doesn't follow function here as it did with NinjaTrader 7. Rather than our crack team of engineers designing the UI, it was actually drawn by a UI artist, and we worked from there. This has allowed us to do some really cool things, such as utilize, as I mentioned, new UI technologies, the WPF, if anybody's familiar with that, which allows us to, as I alluded to earlier, to much more efficiently and robustly render charts, allow for custom drawing, and things of that nature. One thing I'm super excited about, our new UI allows us to ship with multiple skin options. So what you're seeing on my screen right here is called the slate gray skin. We also have a variety of lighter skins, darker skins, skins with gradients, whatever matches your style or whatever you prefer. And to go even further, you can actually create your own skins, either by modifying one of these that comes shipped with the product, or by completely starting from scratch. So I've seen some really great skins, really creative skins that people have come up with so far and shared on our forum. So it's just about customizability and making NinjaTrader look exactly the way you like it to look. I like this skin because it looks just like my favorite Visual Studio skin for development, which is, it just makes for a seamless workflow for me personally. Okay, I want to touch on one more thing here before we really dive in. I want to touch on the expansions that we've done with NinjaScript. And as I go through this, I'm just going to open up a NinjaScript editor just for a moment. So in NinjaTrader 7, those of you familiar with NinjaScript, we allowed you to create your own custom chart indicators, your own studies, and your own custom automated trading strategies, which I know the Futures.io community is really big on. We've completely taken the lid off of that for NinjaTrader 8. Both of those things are still there and greatly expanded, but now, as you can see, you can create your own bar types and chart styles, for your own personal alternative to Renko or Candlestick or what have you, or your own alternative to a minute or daily or whatever you can think of. You can create your own chart drawing tools, your own historical data import types. So if you've got historical data in some previously unsupported format, no longer a problem. You can still do the indicators and strategies, like I said. You can now create your own custom market analyzer columns, For those not familiar with Market Analyzer, it's a live quote sheet with a lot of additional functionality. If we have any time at the end, I'd be happy to show you that. You can create your own optimizers for optimizing your automated trading strategies. You can create your own performance metrics. So, let's say you're in a trading group and you guys have some unique performance metric that nobody else is using that gives you an edge. You can actually create that in NinjaScript and actually analyze your trades based on that metric. You can create your own Superdome columns. The whole concept of Superdome columns is brand new, and I'm going to show you that when we get our hands on. Basically, with a Superdome column, you can add additional information in addition to the price ladder and the depth and things like that. And the sky's the limit there. Whatever you wanted to add to your dome trading, you could do with a column, with a custom column. And last but not least, you can develop your own share services. This is another feature that we've added to the platform where you can instantly share things like screenshots, position information, etc., to your favorite social media outlets. And if your favorite one isn't in the list of preloaded ones to share to, you can create your own adapter for that. So I love to spend a minute on that because I'm always so excited about that. Okay, let's dive right in here and talk about charts. So I'm going to just rearrange my workspace here a little bit so we can focus on the chart here. All right, so the first thing you may notice if you are a NinjaTrader 7 user is that things are pretty familiar. We've got our instrument selector up here, we've got our interval selector, but wait till you see what's under the hood of these two things. I'm gonna go over that a little later, and the familiar options at the top. One thing that may be new to you is this little tab at the bottom. So in NinjaTrader 8, all throughout the platform, we have this tabbed window design. So every window, whether it be a trading window or just a market data window or even like an alerts log, you can have multiple tabs. So right now, we're just looking at a chart with one tab of the ES 616 contract. What if I wanted to compare that against the CL? I want to check on oil, but let's say I only have this one monitor, or for whatever reason, I don't want to open another chart. I want to save screen real estate and be efficient. You can simply click the plus here. Data series window comes up. Should be very familiar. And from here, I can just find my CL contract. I believe we're on the 416. And now we have a CL chart open right next to our ES chart. So now in the past, you would either have to put that on the same chart, something like this, or you'd have to put in different charts, which you can absolutely still do, but you also now have this tabbed architecture to make it a little more robust for you. Now let's say I change my mind, I don't want CL in this other tab. I can right-click the tab, and I have a variety of options here. I could move this to a new window entirely, or I could duplicate it in a new window. So if I wanted to pop it out, it's just that easy. It pops right out. Let's say I had set up this chart with a bunch of custom properties, and I quickly want to duplicate that chart but just change the instrument. I could simply right-click, duplicate in new tab, or duplicate in new window, and boom. So all of the properties that I had set up for this one, so let's just say, we've got a little time to demonstrate here. Let's just say I wanted to change the color for my down bars a little bit, to this rosy brown or something. And the sky's the limit on what you can change there, but I could just duplicate that in a new tab. The settings come right over, and then I can change to whatever instrument that I'd like to put up there. Just as simple as that. Okay, now let's say I've got so many tabs, I want to clean the window up a little bit. I can right-click, choose to close other tabs, so all other tabs in the window disappear. I can also rename this tab. And there's a really great functionality that goes with renaming. We have certain global variables throughout the platform that can automatically populate info such as the interval, the instrument name, etc. And you can pop those variables into the name of the tab to dynamically populate it. So for example, the name of this tab under the hood is probably not ES616, it's probably that variable for instrument name. And that way, whatever instrument we choose is going to be reflected there. And you can do that, you could add the interval or whatever you wanted there as well. So keep in mind, that applies to all windows. So let's say I wanted to open trade performance in our new dedicated trade performance window. I could run a report here, open a new tab, run another report. Duplicate that, change one parameter, change the filter, run another report. You're going to notice a theme that I keep coming back to during this presentation is efficiency and convenience and customizability. That's what all the UI elements are designed around. Okay, so now really quickly, and I apologize if I'm going really fast. I just get really excited about this stuff, but feel free to slow me down if need be, or to ask me to go over anything again at the end. I'll be more than happy to. I want to touch on some of our custom controls that we have implemented throughout the platform. When I say controls, I mean things like the instrument selector here, or the interval selector, or things like here in ChartTrader, things like the ATM strategy selector or quantity selector. So each of these we've actually built from the ground up specifically for NinjaTrader. So we're not just using generic Microsoft Windows components, we're using our own proprietary design controls that you can access as well if you're creating your own add-on windows and your own functionality. So let's just start rolling through these guys. And again, you'll find these on all the windows too, so it's standard across the platform. Start with the instrument selector. Used to be pretty simple. Now we've got some great advanced functionality. The first thing you'll notice is up here at the top above this line, what we have are recently used instruments. So the last 6 instruments that I've viewed. So you've seen me playing around with ES and CL. That's why they're at the top there. Now you can also pin an instrument to the top of this list. Let's say I always want ES to be at the top. So I'll click the little pin, and now he's pinned there. So now if I were to look at a different instrument, let's say the FDAX, now we can see the FDAX in the list, but the ES is pinned to the top. So again, efficiency. You know, if you're an ES trader, you can pin that to the top, and any window you open, that guy's going to be right there for you. The next thing that's really cool, this is an example of something we really heard the voice of the community on. In our previous version, NinjaTrader 7, we had something called the default instrument list. And this was the instrument list where you needed to put everything that you wanted to access from trading windows. In NinjaTrader 8, we allow you to create as many instrument lists as you'd like, custom lists of symbols, and all of the lists will be available down here in any instrument selector throughout the platform. So what you're seeing here are our preloaded lists. We have our most popularly traded futures from our brokerage clients. We've got indexes. We've got a couple equities indexes, a preloaded Forex list. But you could make your own instrument list, let's say with the 5 markets that you track for whatever, whatever your system does. And you could have it right there. Let's say one of those guys is your most popular one. You could pin him to the top, have your list up here at the top, and just access the instruments you want right away. Of course, the instrument overlay selector is still available. So if I were to just start typing directly into this chart, ES0616, press enter, just like that, changes for me. One more thing with the instrument selector, we have this little search field. This simply brings up the instruments window, which is a database of all of your instruments. So this is a live dynamic search too. So if I wanted to say the euro-dollar pair, I'll just simply start typing, and it filters as I type. So there's a number of ways to pull up your instruments there. So then let's move over to talk about our interval selector. So this has been completely redone. When I pull down the interval selector, you see basically what we're seeing here is a grid of pre-configured intervals. So what I can do here is, it's pretty self-explanatory from what you see. I could choose any of these intervals that are already set up. If I wanted to go straight to 5-minute, I could do that. If I wanted to go straight to a certain tick interval, I could do that. Now, what's really great about this may look cool already, but it's completely customizable. So if I click Configure, let's just say, for example, I don't want to see anything under 15 minutes because I'm not a scalper. I can go into this minute interval. Here on the left, you have the different interval types that are configured. I can go over to the right side. I can just remove everything under 15 minutes. Oops, click the wrong button there. Remove, 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 remove. Get out of here. Click OK. And then, now that's all out of my way. Now let's say I wanted to add a 90-minute interval. I could absolutely do that. Once again, choose the minute category here, add 90-minute. This is an example of one of those global variables I was talking about. And now that's going to be on there for me. If you wanted to, you may be noticing certain things are missing here. If you wanted to add something else, such as Heikin-Ashi, Kagi, line break, Renko, you could do that too. If you're a Renko trader, you can add a new interval category and then just start adding different values. Let's say I want my 6 Renko and I want my, I don't know, 9 Renko. I can configure that and it's in there. Let's say you only literally use 3 time frames. You could literally delete all of this and just have your 3 options there available. So it's just instantly, efficiently there for you. Okay, I want to show you another feature that's pretty cool that has to do with database management. We now have an auto rollover feature that will essentially detect any instances of expired contracts that you have open in your windows, and it'll automatically roll them over for you. So let's just say I go to ES0316, and this is what I were looking at. So if I'm looking at this, I see this big bar building. I know what that means. It means the contract is rolled over. I'm simply going to go here to the control center, open our new database window for database management. And in this window, it's giving me an alert. It says here, hey, that CL you're using, that's not the current contract. That's, you need to be on 516. You guys probably knew that as I was looking at CL 416. And it says, hey, you've got an ES 316 open. You need to be on 616. So watch what happens when I just click this one button here. Roll over, gives me a little message, and then boom, it just rolls it over straight to 616. And it also let me know what the current contract of CL was because I was looking at the wrong one. So people are already telling us that's saved them a couple times in helping them to know when the rollovers are coming up. So I know I use that personally as well. Okay, so really quickly, we have always had this concept of interlinking. I'll show you that really quick. If I were to duplicate this in a new window here, what I can do, and this is same as NinjaTrader 7. I can set in this little icon here, this instrument link icon, I can set a color for both windows. And when I do that, any instrument changed on one of the linked windows will instantly change on the other linked windows. This is great for charts, but it's also really cool when you're like linking with a market analyzer or you have a DOM linked up with your chart. You could just go in here, type in, using the instrument overlay selector, boom, boom, and you've changed it on both. Now what's new, you might be asking yourself, what the heck is this other thing over here? That's a new interval link selector. So we can now link intervals between 2 charts. So if I were to set this both to green, now if I change the interval here to my 60-minute, it's going to change on both. And this can work independently too. Let's say I don't have instrument linking on, and let's say this guy here is on FDAX, this guy is on ES, but I want both of them to be 15-minute. I can now change the interval with only the interval link set up, and that's all it changes for me. So really quick, really convenient. It's a way to get in and get out and actually focus on what really matters, which is your trading decisions. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? I want to touch briefly on this concept of equidistant bar spacing as well. This is another enhancement that we have heard requests from the community for quite some time. So on this chart here, let me actually pull up something that's going to show a better example of why this matters. Let's say I'm looking at 2 different series here. I'm looking at an ES 15-minute, and let's say I'm looking at a 150 tick in another panel. So what we have here, equidistant bar spacing, is turned on. Actually, you know what? It might be better to start to show this as a minute interval, and then we'll change to tick to show the other option. So let's say we've got a 5-minute and a 15-minute. Okay, so this is equidistant bar spacing turned on. What that means is there's going to be a slot for each bar in all of the series that are out there, which means for a 5-minute series here, this is obviously going to have the most number of bars. So for every one 15-minute bar you see, you're going to see 3 5-minute bars, right? So what it basically means is there's an equal amount of space between each bar. And what this allows us to do, for example, if there's a gap with absolutely no data, since we're maintaining an equal spacing between each bar, that gap would just be completely eliminated. You know, if you don't have any data from, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., you'd have a 3 p.m. bar and the 4 p.m. would be right next to it. Now, let's go ahead and switch this over to the tick. And if we have equidistant bar spacing disabled, now what's going to happen is our x-axis is going to have a fixed time scale. So I'm just going to go into the properties window here and disable equidistant bar spacing. So now what we see, some of these bars can actually overlap each other because, for example, here we clearly have 5-minute bars delineated in 5-minute increments, but the 150 tick series isn't going to come in based on time. So for this, you're actually using a static x-axis that's never going to change, which means if there's gaps, you're going to see gaps. If there's non-time-based bars that both have the same timestamp, you're going to see them overlaying the same slot. So this is really important to people that work with certain types of indicators or certain types of drawing tools or things like that where they really need a static x-axis that is not going to change. So for most purposes, you would want it enabled, which it is by default. But for those of you who are familiar with doing with the need that is solved by non-equidistant, that's going to you'll probably know exactly the benefits right away. Okay, so all right, so next thing I want to talk about are items in the chart trader panel. So the first thing here is the new quantity selector. You may be asking, what is so fancy about a quantity selector? It's pretty basic. Click up or down to change the increment. I could type right in there to change the increment. I could use my arrow keys. I could hold the arrow keys to go up and down more quickly. What's really cool about this, if I middle click in this field, it looks just like the interval selector in that I have these predefined values here. On the left, these are predefined quantity values. So right here, if I wanted 100, boom, I just click 100. If I'm doing 4x, here's my mini lot, here's my micro lot, my full lot. And then we also have these predefined increments. So let's say I wanted a full lot but minus 1,000 or plus 1,000 rather. I could just simply click plus 1,000 and do it to my heart's content, and it goes up by that interval. Now, keeping in line with the theme, if I click configure, now you can see I can add any of my own quick quantities or quantity increments. Let's say I want a quick quantity of 6 contracts because that's what my risk management says. I can do that. I can add 6. And then let's say, according to my system, I should always be scaling in and out by 3, just hypothetically. I can add that to the increment. And there we have it. So now I've got my 6 predefined here, and if I wanted to scale in, to do a larger order, just plus 3, not a problem. So again, convenience, efficiency, customizability across the board. All right, what else do we have here? A couple more things to talk about with charts, and then we will pop open a Superdome. I want to show the new ATM strategy selector. So when you're configuring ATMs, we have a lot of the same options as before, with some new things such as use market if touched orders for your profit targets. All of this other stuff is very basic advanced trade management stuff. For those not familiar with NinjaTrader, the elevator pitch version of what this is, it's basically a semi-automated, it's a layer of trade automation, which allows you to automatically place profit targets and stop losses when an entry order is filled. And you can also set up things like automatic profit or automatic trailing stop loss. You can do reverse at target, reverse at stop, profit target chase. The sky's the limit with the things that you can do to kind of semi-automate your positions there. Also, one thing that people have asked us about for a long time is the ability to add as many sets, as many brackets of stop loss and profit target as they'd like, and now you can do that. So if I'm working with 10 contracts and I want 10 stop losses and 10 profit targets, each one with a different behavior for trailing stops and auto break-evens and whatnot, I could totally do that now in custom ATM selectors. Another thing that is really cool, if you have more than one instrument on the chart, then when you're placing orders or setting your ATM strategy selector, you can actually choose which instrument to send it to. So you're not just pegged to the first one on there. So let's say, let's just say I'm connected to 2 different accounts. One's my auto trader account, one's discretionary, or whatever the case may be. I could choose to place an order on ES on account number 1, and then do another order on YM on account number 2, all within the same window. And when you add tabs to that, the functionality just grows there. Okay, so let's get this guy out of here. And I want to show you 2 more quick things. The first is something brand new, attaching resting orders to indicator plots. So let's go ahead and throw a simple moving average on our chart here. And then what I'm going to do is place an order, pending order, same as I would in NinjaTrader 7. Now, I can move this order around to my heart's content, same as NinjaTrader 7. But now, with that SMA on the chart, if I were to click this once and then hold the Control key on my keyboard, you see it jumps up there when I hold Control and it says Attach. If I go ahead and click once more, Attach to Indicator Properties window comes up. I can add an offset. Let's say I want it to track the SMA plus 5 ticks or minus 5 ticks. I can completely do that. If I wanted it to only move towards the price and never away, I could do that with this option here. I'll just click OK. And now this thing is essentially automated. So if you obviously the most basic use case of this is an SMA cross, but the sky is the limit. I know I keep saying that, but it really applies. Any indicator plot that you want to attach an order to, that you want to enter on a cross condition, you can do that. So I can just leave this here now, and it's going to move as the SMA plot updates. And then the last thing that I will show you, we're just going to draw a line on the chart to demonstrate this one. I'm going to show you the new alerts system. Alerts in NinjaTrader 7 used to be the sole domain of NinjaScript developers. There was a bit of pretty cool alert functionality in the market analyzer, but now what we've done is completely take the lid off, and we have implemented this new user interface, so now you can set up robust alerts without any programming experience. So I just right-clicked in the chart there and clicked Alerts. I'll click Add to add a new one. In a nutshell, there's a lot of information we have about this that you can dig into on our help guide and on our training videos and webinars that we host in-house. But basically what I can do, I can go into this conditions window. I can set up any number of conditions that I'd like and say they all have to be met or any one of them can be met. Let's just say, for example, I want to detect whether the price crosses that SMA or crosses that horizontal line. Show you how quick and easy that is to set up. Open the data series folder here, select my data series, ES. I want to detect whether it crosses below the SMA. Open the indicators folder here, SMA. And I have various options for an offset. Let's say I want to detect when it crosses the SMA plus 5 ticks, I can do that. If I want to detect if it crossed 5 bars ago, I could do that. If I want to detect if the ask crosses, I could do that, or the median price or the typical price. There's a lot of different things you can do there. We'll just do it really basic here. So now we've got that condition set up. We'll change this drop down to if any, so it now says if any of the following conditions are met. Then I'll add a second condition. Real quick, if the ES crosses below, you see we have equals, greater, less than, doesn't equal. If it crosses below, open the drawing objects folder, if it crosses below this horizontal line. So now here are two conditions. If the ES crosses that SMA or crosses below that horizontal line, you can do other things such as time-based conditions or a variety of things like that. Then what it's going to do is it's going to pop up in the alerts log window using the details that you specify here. So again, here's one of those global variables, at name. That's going to put the name of the configured instrument that throws the alert. So I can set the text, I can set the priority level, which you can filter for in the alerts log window, set the different colors. That's standard. What's new is this new actions section where we can actually do additional things with our alert. So I'll click add here. We can play a sound, so if we're cooking a steak while we have this alert set up, we can set a sound to go off to bring us back to our machine. We could share a message to Facebook or Twitter or email. You could also use this to share a message, quote unquote, to your email address of your SMS carrier to essentially send yourself a text message. So like 555-5555 at Verizon.net. Any cell phone provider should be able to give you that. You can actually have this alert send you a text message, so you can log on via TeamViewer on your phone, however it is that you're using the platform. You can show a pop-up dialog that will show the same message that you have configured, and you can actually submit an order. So here's another layer of trade semi-automation for you. You could say, rather than attaching that order to that SMA, you could do this another way by setting up an alert, having it ding a sound, having it share something to Twitter that says, I'm short ES at this price, and actually have it short the ES for you completely automatically while you're kicking back and making strategic decisions. So this is the alerts window. It's also available in the market analyzer. The only difference in the market analyzer, in that high-powered quote sheet I was telling you about, is that in the quote sheet, obviously in the analyzer, you are looking at a list of multiple instruments, so you can set it to apply to one instrument or all of them if you want. All right. So that does it for charts. A bit of a drive through, but there's just so much in there. I should also note, if you guys would like, at the end, I have some links for you to our video library, to our online help guide, to get in contact with our support team and our NinjaScript guys. Matthew and I personally have put a lot of effort into beefing up documentation as much as possible, getting ready for the NinjaTrader 8 launch as soon as it's ready. So one of our main goals is to make sure that everybody has the guidance and the resources and tools they need to get up and running with the platform as quickly as possible. So that's there for you. All right, so let's say goodbye to our chart and open up a Superdome. Okay, we're looking at ES here. One of the things I want to note right off the bat, because this is a big one for a lot of people, people have asked us for a long time to be able to resize this window. Well, now you can resize it to your heart's content. However you want it to fit. If you only have this much space for it, and that's all you want to see, that's fine. If you want it to take up one window, that's fine, or anything in between. You'll also notice that the number of price rows on the ladder is dynamically updating as I resize the window. So if you've got like a vertical monitor and you want to see this whole market and everything you could possibly do, you could stretch this guy as far as you could go. Or like I said, if you're pressed for space, no problem. You could have it kind of small. Another thing people have asked us for a long time is the ability to show additional rows of depth. So you can do that now. If I just right-click here in the dome, click Properties, we are currently set at 5, the default number of market depth levels. I could change this guy to 10. And let's see here, there we go. Took 1 second to load. Now we've got 10 levels on either side. So you can just get a much deeper view of the market that way as well. I want to touch really quickly on the instrument overlay window. I noted briefly it's available everywhere. I just want to show you that it is. If I wanted to do YM, I could certainly do that just using the instrument overlay window. Change my mind, want to go to ES, I can definitely do that. Let's say I change my mind again, I want them both. I can go to my fancy tab duplicating. Duplicate this in a new tab, change this guy to YM. Now I've got 2 domes and 2 tabs. It took me 2 seconds. Okay, so something that is really cool for dome traders, you can now put indicators directly on the dome. This works really well for indicators that track price pretty closely. You know, obviously within this range of our visual here. SMA is a perfect example, but there are many others. If I just open the indicators window, it looks just like it does on charts. I'll go ahead and throw on an SMA. We'll call it let's call it a 25 period since we've got a big dome here. And now you can see a plot. 25 is actually pretty close. You can see a plot. This orange line represents the SMA. And if we hover over it, it actually tells us exactly where that SMA is, 2042.85 for the 25 SMA. And if I had an order placed here, let's say buy stop, and I wanted to attach it, I could do that. Okay, so this is on the wrong side of the market. So let's actually place it here. Let's say I wanted to attach this to that SMA. Same process. Same window comes up. And now that is going to move along with that SMA plot as the SMA changes. So that functionality is there as well. And again, going back to the expanded Ninja script, you can create your own indicator specifically for the dome if you want. And vendors are already starting to play around with this, developers in our ecosystem. And it's a really good bet that there's Futures.io community members that are already starting to play with this as well. Okay, so another exciting thing is the concept of Superdome Columns. So I'll just right-click here in the dome, click Columns. This is brand new. There are 4 columns that are available right off the bat. So let's just, for example, show you the volume column. These columns are really great. This will take just about 2 seconds to populate with volume data, and it's going to show volume per price level, kind of like a little mini real-time profile, if you will. What's really great about this is that you can develop your own custom market analyzer columns. So what that means in the future, we anticipate a really cool dome functionality, dome column functionality being put in place by our vendors and things like that. Right, so just update this here and show you another column. Let's take a look at the APQ column. APQ, average position in Q. So let's say I had a sell limit order going on here. We can now see our position in Q based on the depth information given to us by our provider. So we can see we're currently 61st in line. Now let's say I wanted to monitor that and then open up a new tab. I could use this instrument overlay selector, use the ++ instead of just a single plus. Type in you know, my instrument YM616. It's automatically going to open a new tab for me with the YM, and then I could manage the trade in there as well. So we ship with a few a few preloaded columns. We have a notes column. You can take notes at any level. P&L is really cool. If you are in a trade, actually, let me go ahead and get in the market here. Now the P&L column is going to show me the P&L I could expect if I got out at any of these various price levels based on the position that I am currently in. So that's pretty cool. But again, you know, we put these Superdome columns together, these preloaded ones, to give you guys a basic sense of functionality. But where we really see the opportunity is for the NinjaTrader ecosystem in developing these columns for the community and for their clients as well. All right, so that actually just about covers it for what I had on the agenda today. As Terry mentioned, we're going to go ahead and open up for a quick Q&A session. It doesn't necessarily have to be quick. I've got all the time in the world if you guys have all the time in the world. If you'd like me to demonstrate anything, be more than happy to do so. If any question gets a little more complex than I'm able to show on the screen here, my colleague Matthew is on hand to answer any questions. And if anything is really specific to your circumstance, I might refer you to the platform support team, but I'll do my best to show you anything you want to see and answer anything, any questions that you've got. So with that, I guess I'll pass it back to you, Terry, to open her up.
Okay, guys, just go ahead and type your questions in, and then I will go down the list and ask them to Dave and Matthew. Let's see. Relative to NT7, is it hard to know what the date that you're looking at is on one chart, or are they any display settings to show the date?
You know, that's a good question. Depending on the interval that you're actually looking at, sometimes the date will actually be there in the x-axis, obviously not on a 5-minute chart. We still have our mini data box. So with the mini data box, all I'm doing here is clicking my middle mouse button, and we can immediately see the date, even if we were looking at, you know, tick data or something very, very intraday. So I would say this would be the quickest way using the mini data box. You can also pull up the regular data box, which is also going to have that date up at the top. If you're looking for something like a text display in the corner of the chart or something like that, that doesn't come shipped preloaded. However, that is something that's really quick and easy to do through NinjaScript as well. And there's also a property that you can use if you're looking for something like the date range that's shown on the chart, where you can click this property to show date range. Just apply that, and now we can actually see the range of dates that are actually displayed on the visible portion of your screen. So a couple options there as well. Now that I think about it, this option is probably exactly what you were looking for, even though those other things are helpful as well.
Okay, is the font and the color of the buy and sell buttons adjustable in the DOM?
In the DOM,
yeah, the DOM.
So if we were to open a DOM, the font is not. Let me actually just pull in a instrument here. So we can adjust certain font settings. So for example, if I wanted to change this to a different family, I wanted it to be a little larger and bold, I could do that. What that's going to actually apply to, though, is the ladder itself. So the buttons, the formatting for the buttons is actually in the skin files themselves. Okay. So what you should be able to do is edit those by editing your skins.
Okay. Are Pnf charts available?
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and show you the Pnf chart. Okay, so let's change the point and figure chart style. And here we go. So I didn't change any of my Pnf settings, so it looks a little off, but I could tweak the settings all day long to have the exact sizes and things like that, and that I wanted, the exact bar widths and things like that.
Okay, when are you expecting to release this NT8?
So I actually have really great news for you guys. Futures.io is a place where we've made a lot of announcements in the past, and I'm very pleased to share that we have thousands of users currently actively using NinjaTrader 8 every day. and we are very well progressed in the open beta phase. We're very happy with our progress, and we do anticipate a full release in the upcoming months. That's just about as specific as I can be, but you can expect it in the next few months.
Okay.
I should
Can
also
an
note,
order
just
be
stepping
attached?
back. Oh, sorry about that. I should also note there's an actual point and figure chart style, or bar type rather, where we can change our box size, base period value, reversals, and things like that. So that may be a little more closer to what you were looking for.
Yeah. Okay, can you attach an order to an indicator that doesn't overlay the price chart?
No, you would not be able to do that. It needs to be on the same panel. However, what you could do is develop an indicator or edit an indicator to expose something in the price panel to attach to.
Okay. Can you set an alarm by right-clicking on the chart?
No, that is not in place right now. Basically, what you would have to do is open that alerts window that we talked about. So just with a right-click, alerts, you can actually, yeah. I mean, if you have your alert set up, you could turn it on, you could turn it off, so that it's just pretty much 2 clicks to enable that guy if it were saved in your workspace.
Okay. Will you have a default VWAP indicator for NT8?
VWAP is something that we have been discussing in-house. It is not currently included in NinjaTrader 8. However, there are a number of things that we are investigating and looking into related to volume analysis specifically. I don't want to go too much in depth there, but it's pretty big on our radar, and it's something that we are looking to bring to you guys. Still investigating.
Okay. Is there a freehand drawing tool, like a pin, for the chart?
There's not a freehand drawing tool as yet. I think this is a really good time to mention that we've been collecting feature requests all throughout the beta process. I personally handle that, and we have a few votes on a feature request for a freehand drawing tool. So if that's something that you guys feel strongly about, or if anything that's not included is something you feel strongly about, please join us on our beta forums and add your voice to the discussion. We'll increment the vote on the feature request, and that plays heavily into our decision making as to what to implement in the future. So not at this time, though.
Okay, and they're asking, do you have volume profile? I'm assuming that's going to be in the same box as the VWAP.
Same answer, yes. Same answer as VWAP. There are a number of volume analysis tools that we're investigating at the same time, and kind of thinking of, how can we add the most value to NinjaTrader users who do volume analysis. One thing I'd like to actually note with that really quick is we have something right now called tick replay, where you can actually replay the ticks that went into building the bars. And so if you're using something like a volume profile, market profile, did you say volume profiles? Was that the question?
Yeah, it says volume profile, but I'm pretty sure it's volume and market. Yeah.
Yes, so the answer for volume profile is actually yes. I misspoke there. Sorry about that. The answer for market profile is the same as VWAP. For volume profile, we absolutely do have that. So really quick, I want to show you this here. With tick replay on, you could throw a volume profile on the chart and have it immediately populate all of its data for everything you have on the chart. So for volume profile users, as you know, this is something that can generally only be used in real time. But now, so if I were to, let's actually say this were a 60-minute chart over 10 days, let's say 5 days. As soon as this loads, it's loading all the ticks that went in building those bars. It doesn't take more than a couple seconds here. As soon as it does, our volume profile is now completely built on historical days. So, and that goes for anything that relies on that real-time data. You can now do that with Tick Replay instantly.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited about that.
I'm really excited about Tick Replay myself. And I mean, it's not just about things like volume profile, it's also about indicators in that your strategies may be using that require
Yeah.
tick data. You can now get more, more accurate historical fills. So that's something again, we heard the voice of the community and we were like, we absolutely have to put that in place. We're really happy with the way it works.
Okay, let's see. Is there a way to do, or can you demonstrate multi-line notes on a chart?
Multi-line notes. I'm not entirely clear. Could you clarify that for me, Terry?
Let's see. He likes to annotate his charts with notes at the end of the day. So I'm assuming text typed onto the chart.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So there are two pre-made text drawing objects. One allows you to just draw text, and one allows you to, there we go, and one allows you to draw it in a fixed position. So if I wanted to go here and I wanted to say, breakdown zone, I could put that right there. And I want to do something else. I want to mark something else to say, this was a bad entry, shouldn't have entered here. I can put notes
Yeah.
all over the place, and I could do that on the dome at the same time with that column.
Can you show us how to enter an OCO trade directly in the chart window?
Yes, absolutely. Let me go ahead and clean up our window here a little bit. Get our indicators off of here. So this is going to be the same process as NT7. What I'm going to do first is right-click in the Chart Trader panel. Then I'm going to click OCO order. That's going to bring this little green indicator light up there. Then I'm simply going to place two orders. So now these guys are tagged with OCO. Then what I'm going to do, this is important, I'm going to turn off OCO. Then if I want another bracket, I'll turn it back on. What I just did there, by turning it off and on, I ensured that I'm going to generate a new OCO ID. So now what we have an inner bracket tied with OCO, we have an outer bracket tied with OCO, and our ATM strategies as well. Our ATM orders are always automatically OCO as well.
The background colors of the charts, is it still possible to use numerical values in addition to pre-selected colors? I'm assuming they mean the HTML values.
Yes, yes. So in any of our color selectors, you can type in RGB values. So, 3 values separated by commas, red, green, blue. You can type in the actual hex color codes. And what's new here, you can put in an alpha value. So you can do what's called ARGB, where you can essentially specify a level of transparency for that as well. So there's a couple things you can do. I could type in something like, just type in blue. I could type in an RGB, let's say 152, 102. I don't know what this will be, but 255. That kind of gives purple. If I wanted 50% transparency, I could do an ARGB. So now you can see it's that same purple, but a little transparent. Or I could put the hex code directly in with transparency as well if I wanted to. So absolutely. And this doesn't only apply to this. It applies to anywhere in the entire platform where colors can be selected.
Okay.
And it's also a list, obviously, organized by hue.
Will the licensing model change for NT8? Will the direct license still be around?
Let's see here. You know what? We haven't raised our platform pricing in a material way for over 7 years, really. I'm not familiar with any plans to increase pricing, but keep in mind, existing users, our policy has always been to grandfather current clients in to the existing pricing. So what that means is, you know, if you're a current client and you wanted to upgrade or something like that, you could do that. If you have a license already, you can simply plug that straight in and start going right away.
Okay. Let's see. You mentioned you're able to enter positions at a moving average. Is it possible to attach an exit order to an SMA or other indicator?
Absolutely. So it really doesn't care essentially whether you're entering or exiting. All it knows is
Okay.
that you've got an order. You know, so if you have a position in there and you want to quickly put in a limit order to exit, you can totally do that and exit on that SMA instead.
Are there any changes to workspaces?
Um, There's a couple different ways to think about that. So for one, the tabbed architecture is now included in Workspaces. So that's something that obviously couldn't have been in NT7. But in terms of just the concept itself of creating, loading, saving on exit, things like that, it's very similar. Let me just briefly show you the menu that we have here. It's a new menu. The Workspaces menu, very clean here. If I wanted to add a new one, just click New. Now we've got a brand new workspace. We can switch between them on the fly instantly. One thing you'll notice is this right here, going from this one to this one, that took maybe 4 clicks through a menu in NinjaTrader 7. Now I can do it in about a half second. You know, and if I wanted to close this other one out, I could close it. If I wanted to switch to this one and close this one, I could do that. I could remove it, save it as a different name. So I guess basically what I'm saying is the concept of workspaces has not changed. However, since there are more, there's additional functionality involved, there's additional things being saved in workspaces, and we've greatly made the workflow a little more efficient. You know, there are some other cool things though that I should also mention about workspaces. For one, you could set your global drawing objects to show across all workspaces. So for example, I've got one workspace with all oil, and I've got a global drawing object, which means I put it on one chart and it applies to all charts. If I set that to show up in other workspaces, let's say I have a multi-market workspace, I switch over there, that oil drawing object's there. You know, when I say drawing object, that could be a Fibonacci, retracements you've drawn, that could be, you know, support resistance lines, whatever it may be. And there, you can also turn off the linking feature so that it only works on one workspace at a time as well. You can also show alerts from multiple workspaces in a single alerts log window. So that's kind of cool as well.
Is it possible to create is it possible to chart the performance of one instrument against another in a chart form?
How do you mean performance there?
Not sure what he says. He says, is it possible to create performance of one instrument against another in chart form?
That one, I think I would need a little more info on. If the one who asked that question could clarify that a little bit, I'd be more than happy to tackle that one. I'm just not really sure what is meant by performance there. When I think
it's going to be a percentage of change, like you know, ES is up 3% versus crude being down 1%, or
Okay, okay. Not out of the box, although that is a really interesting idea, which could very easily be done in NinjaScript, but not right out of the box.
will market replay run faster than 100 times and not be dependent in actual seconds of time rather than CPU speed?
You know what? I'm really glad that question was asked. We in replay, which we're now calling playback, same concept. We now have a 1,000 times speed, which is literally double the max speed, but that's not even as far as it goes. We now have a new max speed setting, which is going to go as fast as your processor can make it go. So with that, the NinjaTrader 8's playback is able to evolve and scale along with CPU evolution in the future, next, say, 5 years. So that max speed, if you've got an old Pentium 2 in there, that's going to mean one thing. If you've got 32-core behemoth in there, that's going to mean something very different. So yet again, I'm going to use the term the sky is the limit when it comes to playback speeds.
Okay. How to
I should also
upgrade?
note, I'm sorry, Terry. I should also note that you can now play back your historical data instead of your replay data if you choose. Sorry about that.
That's all good. How to upgrade? Will you need a license key validation again?
So there are a couple ways to get your hands on the new version. If you were to go to our help guide and try to download it from there, you would need to put in your license key. However, you can also get it by just going to NinjaTrader.com and entering your email address. So there's two things there. If you don't want to go the license key route, you can go straight to NinjaTrader.com. There's a big red button in the middle of the page that says download now, free to use. All it takes is an email address. Or if you're a veteran and you have that license key, you can just dive right into the help guide, click on the beta 10 link, and throw your license key in there. So it's totally up to you. And in terms of the upgrade process, so something that's really important to note is that NinjaTrader 7 and NinjaTrader 8 are two completely different platforms. So you do not have to give up your 7 in order to have 8. You do not have to upgrade 7 to 8. Yeah, so you could do that, and you can even run them at the same time.
Okay, that was the next question I had in line, so that's good.
Yeah.
You mentioned equal distance spacing in the bars, the time bars. Is there an equal volume distance for volume bars?
So actually, yes. It doesn't come preloaded with the platform, but I personally created an equivolume chart style that's available on our forum. And just today, I noticed that one of our power users, who I believe is a Futures.io guy, made an enhanced version called Equivolume Plus, I believe. So quick answer, not out of the box. However, it would only take you 2 minutes to go onto our file sharing forum and choose between my version or the other guy's enhanced version. So they both look pretty cool to me. They both work pretty well as well. I should also note, while I'm on that topic, one of the goals of our NinjaScript support team is to have all of the NinjaTrader 7 indicators from our file section forum converted to NinjaTrader 8 before our full launch. I know they're making great progress on that project, and we really want that whole environment to be there for you guys.
Okay, that was another question. How easy or difficult would it be to convert NT7 indicator to NT8?
So in terms of the difficulty level, it's really not that difficult. There are a few key things to look for. One, the way that initialization has worked in the past has been completely overhauled. We now have a system of states driven by an event method called onStateChange, which you can filter by an enumeration called states. You have state.dataLoaded, state.setDefault, state.configure. Those are all pretty self-explanatory. State.historical, state.realtime. So you would initialize. So you'd have to rework your initialization around that framework. Other than that, the other major difference is we've done away with a lot of interfaces we were using, for those familiar with the term, and we now provide you with direct access to object instances themselves. So anywhere you're using an iOrder interface, etc., you'd now work with the object itself. Other than that, some changed names on methods and properties and things like that. Not difficult. The time it would take is going to depend on the size of your project.
Yeah. Okay. Will it be a strategy wizard or strategy analyzer like an NT7?
Strategy Analyzer, absolutely yes. Strategy Analyzer comes shipped with the beta product. Strategy Wizard, which we're now calling the Strategy Builder, is still in the oven, so to speak. It's
Okay.
looking good. It's in the pipeline. We do not have a date for it yet, though.
Okay. Let's see. Is there a volume histogram?
Yes, yes. So we have a few volume tools already implemented. We have our basic vol indicator from NT7 that we have available here. Shows volume throughout the day. We also have our volume profile and a couple different volume related tools. What else have we got? Anything else coming in?
How easy would it be for an average person to create the skins?
That's a good question. So the skins are created in a language called XML, which 2-second
Okay.
version, it's a markup language. It's one of the easier languages to work with. Really, it wouldn't take that long for a layman, a non-coder, to figure out what's going on. Really, all that it takes is finding certain descriptive tags and then entering new color values and new margin values, font size values, things like that. So the average user might be slightly intimidated at first, but he could absolutely do it if he just kind of put 30 minutes into wrapping his head around it. An experienced
Okay.
developer is going to say, oh, this is XML, I could do this in my sleep.
Okay. And I'm assuming if you own a lifetime license to 7, will that same license apply to 8, or do they have to buy again?
It would absolutely apply to 8 and any versions in perpetuity.
Is there any accumulated delta indicators?
Not at this time, but that is in the court of volume analysis tools that we are actively investigating and actively working on trying to figure out how best to serve our users in that area.
Okay. Can you provide the link to the beta forum?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just going to throw it in the chat box, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me just take 2 seconds to get that for you. And so here we have general discussion, we have a bug reporting forum, and also file sharing and critical updates, critical information from NinjaTrader as well. So please do join us. It's a really active community with lots and lots of familiar futures.io faces involved. So please do join us.
Let's see. Can we add a trailing stop after a trade has been placed?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad that question came up because that's a new big thing. So let's go ahead and enter. Well, first of all, I should take a step back and say we're going to do this with ATM strategies. So
Okay.
really quick, I'm just going to, well, let's just say, I'm not even going to take the time to set it up, but let's say we have this template here saved as ATM1. Now we're in a position and we're unprotected. What I can do is go to the control center to the positions tab, right click this position, apply ATM strategy, and if I had that trailing stop set up in that strategy, I would just apply it and it would just automatically start. Now keep in mind what this also means is you can automatically bracket this position. You can automatically do auto break even on the position Anything that's in ATMs you can apply to an open, unprotected position.
How much RAM will NT8 utilize?
You know, that's the kind of question that's going to rely on a lot of different factors. That's the kind of question I can't really give you a blanket statement on. What I would say is that if you are using NinjaTrader 8 and you feel that the amount of RAM is too high or whatever it may be, I would say let us know about that, and we can look a little more thoroughly into your particular system to see what might be causing that issue. Our platform support team does that on a semi-regular basis. So one thing I will say is that we are constantly focused on performance improvements, especially here in the final months of open beta. Almost our entire development team is focused on finding every single ounce of performance enhancements we can make, which includes resource management.
Is there a method of saving frequently used sets of indicator settings, much like the templates for charts?
What you can do, so let's say I've got my volume all set up the way I like. You can set a preset to the indicator. So let's say,
Okay.
you know, I had changed some stuff. Yeah, just preset save, preset restore. Pretty quick, simple.
Can you add a stop or limit order to an existing ATM strategy that is currently in the market?
That you would not be able to do. So you can put it on there when it's unprotected, but you can't change an ATM's parameters in flight. There are a number of considerations with that would make that not possible.
So I think we're almost done.
Great questions so far.
Is there any indicators for POC and value area lines that could be plotted?
Not at this time. However, that is definitely a part of our investigation into market profile and potential volume profile enhancements and things like that. So, you know, if we were to move forward with that, you could expect to see that, but not at this time.
Okay. Will CFE products like the VIX futures and OVX index be supported in NT8?
Absolutely. So that is actually more a question of your data provider, what your data provider will give you and what your brokerage will allow you to trade. But the platform is set up so that you can trade anything that's supported, really. I mean, people are trading Bitcoins already using their own custom adapters, you know, so absolutely.
Okay. Is there someone at NinjaTrader who is scrubbing the session's holiday database to ensure it is accurate for historical and future dates?
That's really funny. That is actually yours truly. That is a task that I oversee. So,
Okay.
so absolutely yes. I've just finished last month checking out all 2015 or 2014, 2015, or was it 2015, 2015, 2016? I'm a year behind, and updating that in our database. So you'll see that updated kind of invisibly behind the scenes from time to time.
Okay. Are there any plans for a Mac version of NT8?
Not at this time. Not a native Mac application. NinjaTrader is very reliant on the .NET framework, which is a Windows native framework.
Yes.
That being said, we do have a very large contingent of Mac users. They use Boot Camp or VMware or, you know, any dual boot utility on Mac seems to work very well.
Okay. Can you bring back the ability to double-click to toggle menu items, for example, when selecting chart style, the same functionality as in NT7?
That one, we would need to track that as a feature request. That isn't in the platform right now. That is inherent with our switch of UI technology. So 2-second version, That old behavior came from what's called the Windows Forms library. We're now using the Windows Presentation Foundation and our own custom controls. So a quick answer is no on that one.
Okay. Will it keep trade statistics separate from two trades on the same instrument but in different charts?
No, there's not going to be a way to filter by chart. The database is just going to know about the instrument and the date and the time and the trade statistics, but not which actual chart you're using. You could use separate accounts for things like that or something like
that. Do you have any plans or ideas regarding order flow?
Order flow is another thing that's on our radar. It's not quite so close as volume analysis, but definitely on our radar. I know that a lot of our users use that, and I know that there are a lot of really great NinjaTrader 7 order flow packages out there provided by vendors who are already hard at work converting their packages to NinjaTrader 8. So I'd say keep an eye more on the NinjaTrader ecosystem for order flow analytics.
Okay. What are the changes to backtesting with the strategy analyzer?
That is a really cool question. Let's see. Am I running out of time at all? Should I be brief, or do I have a couple minutes to show you something?
Well, you got a couple minutes. I got nothing to do.
Okay, cool. So a couple things I want to touch on here. Let's get a strategy analyzer going. Strategy Analyzer has been rebuilt. Familiar functionality is there, of course. Same modes are there, standard backtest, optimization, walk forward, multi-objective. We have some really cool enhancements here, such as a fully 3D multi-objective graph. You can apply tick replay. Here's the big thing. Here is the Superman in the room. The order fill resolution. So I'm actually going to pop open a graphic we have on our help guide, which I find very, very useful for showing this. Give me just 1 second here. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over here. So we have different options for the order fill resolution. That means the granularity at which orders are going to be filled. The first one is standard. What standard is going to do, it's going to break each bar into 3 hypothetical bars, so to speak. So as we can see here, if the open price of the bar is closer to the high than the low, we're going to break it into, I apologize for that. I am going to plug in. It's just going to take me 2 seconds. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to break it into 3 hypothetical bars where we go from the open to the high to the close, the high to the low to the close. So you can kind of mimic that price action that went into that bar to get a little closer to the actual action. Now in reverse, if open is closer to the low, we're going to go open to low, low to high, high to close. So that's just standard. What's really cool is the high fill resolution, where you can actually specify the exact granularity at which you want your orders to be filled. So let's say I'm testing on a 1-minute series. I want my orders filled on the tick. I can switch this to high, tick, and put in a 1. There you go. I'm going to be filled on that next tick. So anybody, the person who asked that question is most likely familiar with adding a secondary 1-tick data series and processing orders to that. That's completely out of the window. You don't have to bloat your code with that secondary series just to get that order fill granularity. You can do that with the high order fill resolution. You know, if I were doing this on a daily, but I wanted to fill on a minute, I could totally do that. You know, fill on a 1 minute or whatever I wanted to do. So there's that. There's the order fill resolution. There is the 3D optimization graph. There is the tick replay involved. So we have put a lot of love and care into the strategy analyzer. Absolutely.
Nice. How long do you plan to support NT7?
Well, let me put it this way. It was only in the last few months, I believe, that we officially discontinued support for NinjaTrader 6.5, which is many years old at this point. So while we don't have a date set right now, we're absolutely not going to leave NinjaTrader 7 users hanging. We're not going to leave them out to dry anytime soon. Our team is fully versed in NinjaTrader 7, our support team, and they're not just gonna you guys for quite a long time. I think when we discontinued NinjaTrader 6.5 support, I think we literally had less than 10 users still on it. So that's how long we were supporting it, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do the same for 7.
Is there a way to choose different resolutions when saving chart images?
That's a good question. There is not at this time. I'm trying to think how you might accomplish that, though. It's not baked directly into the platform.
Can you demonstrate how to save a chart image at the moment?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so there's actually 2 different things I can show you here. So one is just very quick, right-click, save chart image, and I'll give it a name. Let's put it in, let's just throw it in there. And then I'm going to pull that up for you and show you what it looks like. Okay, so we've got the chart image there. We've got the instrument there on the bottom, logo there. Try to stay out of the way as much as possible. Now, another thing you can do, if you have a share service set up, so if I were to just say, I'm just going to do this as a placeholder. If you have a share service set up, you can go into the share window, and you can do the tab contents, which essentially is what was done by that right-click save chart image. If I want the entire chart, I can do share window, and then do this save image as, and then just show you what that looks like instead. So now what you have is, here is the share window and saving the image, and then the other one is the right-click and save image of chart. So pretty quick, and a couple different options for you. Now that second thing, sharing and then saving the image, you can do that from virtually anywhere to share almost any window you want. And while you're saving that, you could also be sending it to Twitter if you wanted.
Okay. Someone's asking if they can change the interval of the chart just by typing the number into the chart.
Absolutely. So same thing with the instrument overlay selector. I will just put in 5M per minute. It'll just change right away. So there are certain abbreviations. So for day, I would just do 1D. You know, for week, 1W. For tick, you know, 150T. Pretty self-explanatory. You can probably fiddle around with it and figure out what the abbreviations are. So here's what you can do with that instrument overlay selector. You can change instrument, interval, instrument and interval, throw an instrument on a new tab, throw an instrument on a new panel with the instrument and interval. So a lot of flexibility there for you.
Okay. I think the last question I see is, are ATM strategies programmable via NinjaScript?
Absolutely. So I briefly mentioned earlier that you have the ability to work directly with objects in code. ATM strategy is an example of that. So there are certain things that you can do where you can save an ATM strategy template and you can just apply it, or you could instantiate an ATM object directly if you wanted to.
Okay. And then looks like this will be the last one. Can audio alerts be set as part of the default setting for a horizontal line or indicator?
No, not out of the box. So I think what I'm hearing is you mean like saving an alert and saying every time I throw on a horizontal line, I want this alert on it. That
That's right.
you couldn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea, though. I would love to start tracking feedback for that idea because I'm kind of thinking of it now. That does sound really cool. The alerts functionality is definitely there, but in terms of pegging it to a specific drawing object, that's not there out of the box.
Okay. Take it back one more. Will you provide a reversal bar type similar to Pnf but without the time?
I believe that is on our list of tracked feature requests as well. So that one is not on the roadmap, and it doesn't ship preloaded. But whoever did ask that question, feel free to join us on our forums and make your suggestion, and we'll add another vote to the feature request. Those votes really do matter over time as we track requests.
Okay. I think that is it. Thank you, Dave and Matthew, for joining us and for this excellent webinar today.
Thank you very much. Like I said, we love joining you guys, and you know, we love interacting with you guys on our forums, and we hope to see you all in the beta, and definitely want to come back again and hang out with you guys again.
Sounds good. If you have any further questions or your question wasn't answered, I apologize. Please go to the futures.io thread for this webinar, and you can ask NinjaTrader all the questions you have. I'm going to